From the podcast studio on the third floor of Anderson Hall at UNL's College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Keeping It Classy College Edition. I'm your host, Harmon Johnson. Across the way is McKenna Bliss. And McKenna, you're taking pictures of yourself?
No, I was taking a video of myself saying lip syncing the intro.
Oh, you dirty dog.
Yeah, my bad.
You were trying to take my job.
Yeah, because you won't let me actually say it. Comment down below if you want McKenna to say the intro in the next episode. Comment down below.
You know both of my siblings are going to comment.
Good, as they should.
They're going to say, give McKenna a chance.
Also comment if you think McKenna carries the show on her back.
I won't disagree. I do think you do carry the show on your back. We've got a great episode 6 in store for you. We took a bunch of questions from some family members from Google, right? Google?
Yeah, I Googled.
Shamelessly, Google.
It wasn't shameless. I did it.
But we got some questions. We're going to answer them. We're going to hop right in and just kind of, we've been talking a lot about college, but we just found some more specific questions that we wanted to have answered before we moved on to something else.
Yeah, we thought these questions would be really, really good to answer because I know me, when I was a high school senior, when I was just in high school in general, I had a lot of questions about college. So I think it's nice to answer some questions that future college students may have.
So yeah, we'll dive right in. So the first question that we got from either Google or our family is college necessary? And this is a huge question actually that a lot of people have discussed now with the expense of college.
Yeah.
I know me personally, I always knew that I kind of wanted to go to college. It was like a necessary thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to go anywhere past an entry-level job in my profession, I'll probably want to continue my college education.
Yeah.
But it does beg the question, is college truly necessary for one to be successful in life?
No. My short answer is no, it's not necessary depending on the person. I think it's all based on your personal values, belief, and what you want to do with your life. Because, you can't be a lawyer without college. You can't be a teacher without college. You can't do certain jobs without having a college degree. But there is a lot that you can do without a college degree as well. So it's kind of just weighing the pros and cons of college and the jobs you could get when you major in something in college versus joining the workforce right away and what those jobs have to offer. So it's all based on your own personal preference, but the overall answer is not necessarily, I guess.
Following that up, the next question here on our list what is the average cost per year at college?
I found UNL's cost. I don't know if you found the overall average, but UNL's cost is $27,000 a year without any scholarships. But obviously scholarships is going to bring that number down, so the average with aid is about $16,000. So not cheap, but cheaper than most.
Yeah, in the state of Nebraska, the average on-campus cost is around, where'd the number go? $15,336. This is kind of an older article though. This is kind of post-COVID.
No way.
This is kind of post-COVID with the extra aid that came in for that.
Yeah.
So
it also depends on if you're living on or off campus, because obviously if you're living on campus, it is going to be a little bit more pricey. You have to pay for housing and food and all that. But if you're living off campus, or living with your parents, it's going to be a little bit, your college costs are going to be cheaper, but your overall cost of living is not necessarily going to be cheaper. So once again, weighing those pros and cons. But yeah, I'd say college is anywhere from about 27 to about 50.
Be prepared
50,000.
to invest at least $100,000 by the end of 4 years. At this rate, that'd be my advice.
Apply for those
ready.
Scholarships.
Please.
Apply for those scholarships. Take whatever aid you can, because I was stupid and I was like, I don't need this federal aid because I have scholarships and that'll cover it all. And I didn't actually look into what college costs. So I took those scholarships and I was like, I don't need the aid, because I also thought that grants you had to pay back, which was stupid. You don't have to pay grants back. So I didn't take the grants, and I should have, because I would have gotten that money back at the very end of the year. So dummy me.
The next question, what makes your college good? So this one was specifically about UNL, University of Nebraska. What makes our college good? I guess my answer, I love the culture. I love obviously I'm a sports fan, so I love, all the Big Ten environment, stuff like that. Football game days are always fun, whether we win or lose. I mean, typically you want them to win. You're kind of hoping they're going to win here shortly, but
Yeah.
everyone's pretty nice. You don't get too many like mean people that are just there to get you, unlike some places that you may be the only person from one area.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of what makes it good for me. Also, Lincoln itself is a big city, but it's not a big city.
Yeah.
It's a change.
It doesn't necessarily feel as big as some cities, like Chicago or
Right.
place like that. But for me, I'd say that UNL is good because of like the atmosphere. The campus is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's one of the prettiest campuses for sure. And I think like the social life, that aspect of college here is pretty good if you know how to if you know how to be social. But I also think the quality of education you receive here is really, really phenomenal. Like, I have not met a professor that I have absolutely hated, honestly. All the professors are pushing you to succeed, and it's really great to have like that kind of support system.
Yeah,
here.
you get a Big Ten education if you come to Nebraska. Big Ten obviously known for its educational purposes. They're one of the best academic alliances in all of intercollegiate, I guess, activities. It's true. I mean, I'm not trying to overbear
Armin's just
that.
trying to get a promotion over here.
I'm really not. I mean, it is a good education. I mean, for me specifically, in the J school, we have full-time professionals that are now back to teach what they've learned, and I'm sure it's the same in some of the other places. Maybe not to the extreme of the J school, where every single one of our professors.
Yeah, well, they don't just hire random people.
Right.
They hire like a lot of my professors have had actual field work in their career of choice. Like one of my professors for geology, he's an Antarctic geologist actively researching climate change in Antarctica, and he's been doing that for several years. And I think it's just so incredible that a lot of my professors have actually had experience in the field that they are now teaching, which makes the quality of education even better because they've had that experience and they know what they're talking about. But
so that kind of covers the next question of what makes UNL good. So moving on, what are the sports like? And this one, I mean, I could answer one way, but McKenna could probably also answer another way. So I'll let you go first.
Well, I guess speaking from like I don't follow sports that much, I'd say like attending the games is awesome. It's so fun. The atmosphere there is amazing. Very, very competitive. Especially with the student section, like, ooh, it's loud, especially when we're losing. Sorry. But anyways, I also just kind of wanted to mention, like, intramurals and club teams are a really big thing at UNL. And if you don't end up becoming a Husker, but you still want to be active in, like, playing the sport that you love, you can either try out for a club team or you can sign up with friends or with random people and play an intramural sport. They have so many intramural sports to choose from. Like me and Harmon both did sand volleyball and court volleyball last semester, and it was actually so much fun. Like, so much fun.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I was a part of also an intramural basketball team, and then I'm part of an intramural softball team right now. And it's just, you can be as competitive as you want to be. There's different like levels too. So the less competitive people are going to be in a league outside of the competitive people. So I mean, there are leagues in intramurals that you can be basically full on intercollegiate, and there's also club sports too, which is kind of the middle ground between intercollegiate and intramural.
Yeah.
But yeah, intramurals is a great way to get involved, and a lot of different campuses have intramurals. So definitely check those out if that's something you're wanting to do, especially if you're an athlete in high school, but you're not, up there at the collegiate level.
Well, the thing about intramurals is it's like it's not as competitive as high school. You're not going for a state championship. You're there to have fun most of the time. So it's totally different than high school because you also don't have a coach like breathing down your back. It's what you put into it. So they're so fun. I really, really, really recommend intramurals.
Next question. What is your number one complaint about college?
I need to think about this one.
I'll go first. My number one complaint is the people on your floors not being considerate of what time of day it is.
Oh, that is really annoying.
I mean, we're in the suites, so we're farther away from each other in terms of where our doors are, but
It feels like we're jam-packed like
Yeah.
sardines in there some days when they're stomping on, like, there's somebody who lives above me that's constantly, it's just like, every night at 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I have work in the morning. But, yeah, I'd say that's also one of my bigger complaints, but I don't know if I can really think of anything else other than that. It's just like, I don't know. Some people don't know how to, like, be clean and, like, keep places clean. Like, you'll have, like, people who will come back after a night of partying will just, like, completely trash the hallway, throw their
Right.
stuff all over. It's just kind of annoying having people who, are really inconsiderate and don't realize that other people also live in your dorm.
next question on the list, what are classes like?
I think it depends on the class.
I do too.
Most of your classes that you're going to take first year are going to probably be those lecture style classes where it has 100 plus people in the room. I mean, if you're going to a big university, but it's going to have like lecture style classes with hundreds of people in the room, and all these people are of different majors, and you're probably never going to see those people again. And it's like notes on, or like a PowerPoint on a TV screen, and the professor clicks through them really fast. But once you start progressing through your degree, like your class size gets smaller and smaller as you go, because then you're getting into more of people with just your major. So yeah, I guess it depends on whether you're taking like a lecture style or if it's like a literature class or like what it is, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say class, if you want to compare it to high school, depends on the class, is you're either going to be in a big lecture hall with a bunch of people, or you're going to be in like a medium-sized lecture hall with people you're going to know, or you're going to be in a regular classroom with 20 other people,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be much different than high school unless you go to an extremely small high school.
Yeah.
And the one difference I've found is I was never a huge note taker in high school, except for one class, and
Was it biology?
no, it was history.
Really? Oh,
was
yeah, I
history.
guess history, because
Yeah.
that was a grade.
It was a.
I took a lot
I
of
had
notes in
great
history.
notes in history.
I had great notes in biology.
She would be proud of me if she
She
saw those
would be
notes.
so proud of me.
But I was never a huge note taker, and so when I got to college, I was like, I'm gonna have to take notes because I'm not gonna remember anything for any of my tests.
Mm-hmm.
I have a class this year that I was taking notes the first day. The instructor says, "There's no tests or quizzes in this class, so just put the paper away and listen."
Wow.
I'm like, okay.
That's kind of how I am for a lot of my classes too, is like I don't take a lot of notes, but there are people who have to take notes, where I'm the kind of person who, if I listen and like I am really good at listening and actively paying attention and remembering and retaining all that information, whereas some people aren't. So it depends on like your preference. Like if you take notes, do it.
Right.
But if you don't want to, and if you think you can remember that, also don't do it. And most of the professors will post like the notes and stuff and like everything they talk about on campus. So
Yeah. So the next question, how much time do you have to spend studying? So I'll put a little precursor to this. Based on a credit hour, you're supposed to spend 2 to 3 hours outside of that class.
yeah, so
Doing
if your class
work.
if your class is 3 credit hours, that's about 9 hours
Yeah.
of studying per week.
True. So that's kind of the general rule of thumb. Now, each class is different. I would say for me, because of the way I made my schedule, I have a lot of time to study because I made it so that all of my classes were bulked together.
Yeah.
And so I would have the morning free, I'd go to class, I'd have the afternoon free.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Now, it depends on, I mean, sometimes you can't do it that way. It depends on your schedule. I will say my best tip, if you're wanting time to study during the day and not have to cram it in at night, is do something similar to that. Do all morning classes and have all afternoons free, or do something in the middle of the day and get up and do something and then,
Yeah.
do stuff after class. You don't have to do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the option to do it during the day, it makes your life so much easier.
Yeah. I'd say for me personally, what I do is I usually go to work in the morning. I work from 5:30 until 11:30 in the morning, and then I have class at like 1, and then all my classes are over by either 1:30 or 12:15, and then I use the whole afternoon to study up until about 5, and then I cut it off because if I study past 5, then I will A, be dead tired, or C, B.
You skip B.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's 9 o'clock right now. I'm dead tired. I don't even know what I was going to say, but yeah, I guess for me, I also do the same thing Harmon does. It gives me a lot more free time, but it also depends on your classes, how much time you think you need to study. If it's a class you aren't really familiar with the concepts, you need to study more. If it's a class that you're not familiar with, you are familiar with, then you probably don't need to study as much. So, depends.
follow that up. Are college finals really hard?
I've only taken one actual college final and several midterms. So I would say they are hard if you didn't go to class, didn't pay attention, didn't take a lot of notes, and didn't put a lot of effort in the class, then yeah, they're going to be super, super hard. If you paid attention, went to most of your classes, and you put effort into the class, and then you study like for a couple days before the final, no. But it also depends on the classes, because I know like chem finals, super hard.
Yeah.
My political science final and my history finals, not so much. So I guess it just depends on your classes.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. I think when you're talking about finals, it's, college, you're going to get out what you put in. So if you only go to class half the time, you're only going to know half the stuff. And that's just the fact of it. Have there been days where I've contemplated not going to class because it doesn't affect my grade that much? Yes. But the truth of the matter is you're not going to get anything out of it by not going to class.
yeah.
I was lucky in the one final that I had to take last semester was not cumulative, so it was just the most recent set of information we'd been dealing with since our last test.
Mm-hmm.
I find that a lot of instructors either do it that way, or if they're going to do it cumulative, they're going to be like lenient and have like open book and stuff like that. It's really interesting because you think of college finals as like this, oh my God, I'm not going to get any help. I'm not going to get any, support. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to feel like I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get there. I took a test last week, and my instructor for the last 15 minutes of class was like, oh, here's your surprise, by the way. You guys can talk to each other about the test and do the test together.
What?
I was like,
That's insane.
no shot. Like,
That's crazy. And also, I mean, a lot. Here was a big culture shock when I came to college. Let me just tell you this. So I've only taken one exam in class.
oh, jeez.
All of my other classes I've taken at the DLC, which is the Digital Learning Commons. It's basically a huge computer lab where you're sitting there and you can't talk. There are cameras watching you. A bunch of other people are also taking tests at the same time. It's super nerve-wracking in there, honestly. But I didn't know that existed. And then when I had to take my first exam in class this semester, I was more nervous about taking that exam in class than I was at the DLC, which was crazy.
Well, and I'm about the exact opposite. I have taken one exam in the DLC, and it was because it was a test that proves I know how to get to the DLC. It was for my first class. We call it JMC 100, part of the J School stuff. It's basically a how to college class.
Yeah.
We had to, for an assignment, go to the DLC, take this like baseline test that we'll take again when we're done to see if we've like learned anything. But the only points for the assignment was, did you go to the DLC? Did you do it at the right time? And did you take the test? So, I mean, I haven't even really taken a true exam at the DLC. I hope I never have to, but I'm sure with one of my ACE classes,
You're gonna have
I'm
to.
gonna have to.
Guaranteed. They usually do it with the bigger lecture hall classes too.
Sure.
But I think it's less nerve-wracking now to take it in the DLC than I was. Like, because the reason I bring this up is because I asked my friend who goes to UNK. It was Alexa, actually. She was on our show. And
Go check it out last week.
Yeah, it was last week. But I asked her, I said, do you guys have like a DLC or a digital learning commons where you guys go take your tests? Or like, how do you take exams? And she was like, we take them in class. And I was like, wait, not everyone has a DLC and everyone takes it in class. Like, it was just weird. I was like, what? But yeah.
Yeah, different colleges have different places. UNL does have their digital
But finals
learning
are not that bad if you go to class.
No, they're not.
That's our takeaway.
They're not.
Go to class.
Next question, how do you stay organized between college and work? So you can answer this. I also have 2 jobs on campus, so you can answer yours for your off-campus job.
Well, I also think yours is a little easier because it goes along with your major, and yeah. But the main thing that I do is at the very beginning of the semester when I'm setting up my schedule, I try and set it up so that I at least have about anywhere from 15 to 20 hours of work per week. So my job is a little different where it's only open for 12 hours a day. Like, the daycare closes at 6. So I have to fit, like, that into my schedule as well, like, knowing that. But as soon as I figure out my class schedule, I will figure out my work schedule. And then how I like to stay organized is I have 2 separate planners. I have a physical planner just because I feel like writing things down helps me remember it better. And also I like checking things off physically.
It is very rewarding.
I'm a very organized person. And then I also have a Google Calendar. Google Calendar is my best friend. It sends you reminders 30 minutes before you have anything going on. So like before meetings that you forgot about, or before your shift at work, or before your class, it'll send you a reminder. And having like that physical, like seeing your class schedule and everything lined out in Google Calendar is just, it's really beneficial. I really suggest using some sort of planner or calendar to keep all your things organized in one spot. It'll save you a lot of worry.
So yeah, that's the off-campus kind of position on how to stay organized between college and work. For me, I mean, Husker Vision is easy because obviously a lot of the events are going to be after classes, evenings, weekends, holidays, stuff like that. I mean, I came back over winter break 3 different times to do different basketball stuff. For ambassadors, I can do it during the middle of the day. Like if I have a lull in classes, I can go in, do some work, give a tour if someone's here. I can do some miscellaneous stuff in the office, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on-campus jobs, that's the nice thing about them is it's going to be flexible with your class schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing against getting an off-campus job either. I've considered getting an off-campus job too, just to kind of help, bolster my money because I like the funds. But
who doesn't?
Moving on from that, what do I do if I need help with my classes?
You have a few options. I'd say the number one thing is obviously go to your professor during like office hours or just after class and asking them for some help in your classes. Now, if you are struggling and your professor, like his methods of explaining concepts just aren't working for you, there are so many resources like tutors. I know that like UNL has a writing center, like if you need help writing papers. And there's just so many things. Like if you're struggling in your classes, 9 times out of 10, your professor will be more than willing to help you. And if you just aren't grasping that concept, there are tutors and other like on-campus resources that will be there to help you. So
yeah, just take advantage of the resources you have. It's definitely worth your time to talk to professors, do stuff like that.
Especially if you're struggling. Like
yes,
please attempt to get some help
your
before
professors,
you just accept that.
Your professors know that you're human, and that, especially in your freshman and sophomore years, I feel like they're going to be more
They'll be a little
sympathetic
more, and lenient, I'd say too.
Yeah, it's really nice about them is most of your professors are going to understand. Hey, you have a life outside of college. You're trying to do the best you can, unless you're really not. I mean, then they're gonna see that. They have like a sixth sense of they know who's trying and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say take advantage of the resources you have. The next question: what is there to do besides going to classes? So, I mean, this is different for every college. I would say UNL does a decent job of putting stuff to do when there's not classes, but it really could be a little better, I would think.
Yeah.
There's different events that go on. I mean, guest speakers, stuff like that. I haven't been to many. I typically, when I'm not going to class, I'm either working or I'm spending time studying or playing games or doing something in my dorm. So,
I mean, from what I see other people experience on at UNL, like there's a lot of like campus nightlife stuff that you can do. Like if you're into the party scene, you can. Wouldn't recommend it, but if you're into that, go for it. There's tons of things to do usually in college towns. They'll have tons of events and places to go to. But there's definitely a lot of clubs to join. There's usually a lot of events on campus. Not all of them are going to be the most entertaining things to do. Like, there's a lot of speakers, a lot of banquets for random things. But there's a lot to do. You just have to know where to find it, I guess.
So we've got one last question here before we wrap it up. And the question is, what is the campus atmosphere like? Kind of a semicolon to that. How do students interact with each other? I've seen everything, I think.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I'd say it's very friendly. Usually if you like are passing someone, even if you don't know them, they'll smile at you, you smile at them, and you just go about your day. But 9 times out of 10, you're really not going to know half the people you pass on a campus as big as Nebraska's. So don't be surprised if like you smile at someone, they don't smile back, or if you just like are walking to class with your head down and not really interacting with people. But overall, I'd say most students are very kind to each other, kind to the staff. Like I've never really had that big of a problem with like negativity.
It
on
is.
campus.
It is interesting, like when you do see someone you know on campus, because you'll walk by and I saw someone that I hadn't seen in person for like 3 or 4 years, and I knew they were coming here out of high school, but I hadn't talked to them.
Really?
And I kind of snuck up on them. I feel bad. What are you doing?
I need water.
I kind of snuck up on them. I feel bad, but they didn't recognize me at first. I was like,
Really?
You know who I am.
You know me.
And eventually he got it, and I was like,
really funny.
But it is interesting when you see someone on campus that you know or you haven't seen in a long time, because typically you'll get that like head nod, like what's up, or
like I passed your roommate the other day.
Oh, really?
I waved and he was just like, sup, and I was like,
my roommates pass me on campus and I don't get as much as a wave. So
really, I pass my roommates and they'll usually wave at me. Sometimes I'm just like a really awkward person, and if I see someone, I know I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to pretend like I didn't see them.
Well,
so it's a problem. I know I need to work on it. I'll try my best.
Especially when you're around like a group of people. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to be real here. Sorority girls walk by. I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm putting my head down. I'm going the other way.
Me too. As soon as I see a gaggle of girls galloping toward me.
You were close on that.
I was trying to think of a good alliteration. But as soon as I see them,
A for effort.
9 times out of 10, I'm running the other. I feel like that's my saying today. 9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. I'm running the other way. Same with fraternity brothers.
Yeah.
I'm running the other way.
Once you get associated with a group, it's not quite as bad. But
no,
if it's not for you, it's not for you.
It ain't for you.
All right, that'll wrap it up here for the little kind of question answer from our family, from Google, kind of wherever we found questions. We're going to transition it now into Film of the Week, because this has kind of been a long question answer session. So we got to end on something that'll give us hope for the next week. So McKenna, what's your film show of the week?
So the only show that I've been binge watching this week has been Glee. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a very popular older 2000 show, all about show choir.
Oh yeah.
I love Glee. It's so drama filled. It's perfect. It's perfect to binge watch. But also, I really want to apologize because I'm really tired this episode and I feel like I was like not coherent. So if I make any sense in this episode, good for me.
Good for you. My show is going to be The Big Bang Theory, only because there was nothing else on the last couple nights, and so I was watching Big Bang. It's classic.
Do you not have my password to Netflix anymore?
I do. I just...
He does.
I never go on Netflix.
You should.
It's not my...
There's so...
Whoa, hit the mic. It's not my first judgment.
Yeah, but there's so many things on there that I think you need to experience.
I'm sure there are. I just don't.
Here's my challenge of the week.
Oh, no.
Challenge of the week. You need to watch something on Netflix, and that has to be your film of the week for
the next one?
The next episode.
Okay. I'll try.
Yay!
I'll try.
Okay.
We'd like to thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of Keeping It Classy College Edition. Next week, we have this planned, actually. We are going to take a break from the college scene, and we're just going to do a nice, good old-fashioned trivia night. It'll be me versus McKenna in an all-out battle. Hopefully my brain's bigger.
In a brawl.
We both did Quiz Bowl in high school at one
If I
point.
don't win, I'm going to jump across the table and beat Harmon up.
Okay, maybe not that extreme. Tune in next week if you want to see me get punched in the face. Until then, that's McKenna Blitz across the way. I'm Harmon Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.